Python list is a very powerful data type. A list is like a chess box of data. You can store any numbers of data in there and retrieve them later whenever you want. But I know you behind the screen is clearly someone clever. If I just read over the documentation word by word, it's boring. So instead, let's begin by telling a story about the history of poker suits using Python list. Way back in the 14th century, the suits of the playing cards in Spain were nothing but familiar. The four suits were cups, coins, clubs, swords. The suits which you and me are familiar with, hearts and diamond, were not in there. Yet it was true that clubs wasn't there. People decided to make things more interesting by introducing an additional suit, which is called shields. And there were 5 different suits in the deck. Many decades later, the Germans decided to build their own deck by starting from scratch. They added the suits, hearts, bells, acorns, and leaves. And those 4 suits gained immense popularity in Europe, but of course, not as popular as its successor. The French suits drew inspiration from the German suits. They kept the hearts, but removed the bells. They replaced acorn with clubs, and replaced leaves with spades. And finally, they added in the diamonds. Hearts, clubs, spades, diamonds. They survived all the way to the 21st century. Alright, that was a lot of information. Let's take a moment to dissect on what just happened. To create a Python list, we use a square bracket on our keyboard. If you ever wonder what those weird looking brackets are for, they're used by programmers. Normally, we create an empty list without any data in there. We can also create a list with some initial data. We will use a comma to separate them, distinguishing data from data. Sometimes, people use the word element referring to a particular data in a list. I'll use those 2 terms interchangeably in this video too. Here, you definitely notice something strange. The variable myList does not store the entire list, which is what everyone expected. But rather, it is storing an arrow which references to the actual list. Why? Strange indeed. In a later chapter called Value versus Reference, we'll have a much more in-depth conversation about this and understand why it's really important. For now, it's good to have this mental image, variables such as number, string, boolean. The actual data is stored, but a list variable only stores a reference to the actual list. After creating a list, much of your programming interaction with Python list stems from these 4 primary operations: access, modify, add, remove an element from the list. Zero and foremost, when we want to access an element from a list, we must know its index. For example, suppose I want to get the first element, assign it to the variable called item. We use the name of the list, square bracket index 0. Yep, what you see is correct. To get the first element, we don't use number 1, we use the number 0. We call this behavior zero indexing. This is pretty important to emphasize again. The human understanding of first actually translates to index 0 in Python. You cannot imagine the number of human intelligence hours that had been wasted on this bug. Somewhere inside a massive software, a programmer is trying to access the first element, but the index 1 is used instead of 0, causing the entire program to behave incorrectly. Now, here's a question for you. Suppose I want to get a third element of a list. Which index would you use? Index 2. So the pattern is whenever you want to access the nth element, the index used is n-1. The action of modifying a particular element feels almost identical to modifying a variable. We can modify any variable simply by reassigning it to something else. In the element case, we just reassign the list index to something else. The first element of crypto list is Bitcoin, and I want to change the first element to Litecoin. I just write crypto list index 0 equal the string Litecoin. A variable can update from its existing value. So can an element inside a Python list. This code here updates the third element, which is index 2, by multiplying 1.2 with its existing value. Suppose I want to modify the element Bitcoin to Litecoin. Does this code snippet here do the job for me? It looks like it does, but it doesn't. The only thing we did here was to change the variable coin. The element of index 0 was never changed. A pretty easy place to make a mistake if we're not careful. When we want to add a new element to a list, we use the append method. Pretty straightforward. The string Kyoto is now added to the end. Wait, this is a new syntax we never seen. What is a dot doing in the middle? So this is called a method. In later chapter, we will formally define what a method is. This syntax is pretty much just saying, after the dot symbol, we're doing some action, and whatever the action is directly related to the item here. One thing notable to mention, when we append a variable to a list, we're appending its value rather than the symbol. The variable place stores the string Kyoto. If we append place to travel list, the string of Kyoto is added to the end. However, if this is your mental image, you'll be incorrect. So yeah, if this feels like deja vu, it's because we really emphasized this concept back in chapter 2. When we want to remove element, we use the pop method. By default, pop removes the last element from a list. We can also give it an index, and that particular index element will be removed. Sometimes we don't know the index of the element we want to remove. Suppose we have a list of vegetables. One day, I find out tomato is not vegetable. Tomato is actually fruit. We want to remove fruit from vegetable list. But we don't know the exact index of tomato. Frankly, we don't really care about its index, we just want to remove it. We use the remove method. We just need to specify the data we want to remove, not the index. Our Python list will find it and remove it for us. Even after learning those 4 primary operations, you might still feel there's nothing that special about Python list. So it's time to expand our imagination to something bigger. How about a Python list that contains every word in Romeo and Juliet? So I first Googled Romeo and Juliet txt, and there's a good website hosted by MIT, and I just copy this entire thing and paste it on my Google Colab. Now, I'm going to use the triple quotation mark in the very front and the very end to enclose this entire chunk of text. This thing now is actually one valid Python string. Look at the color, it's yellow, which I can assign this to a variable called rjtext, stands for Romeo and Juliet. Triple quotation mark is another valid way to create a Python string. The reason we don't use single quotation mark, which is what we always do, is because there are new lines within this text, and there could also be existing quotation mark in there as well. Allow me to inject a quick lesson on string manipulation. Although these new methods seem somewhat overwhelming, but in fact, they're just performing very simple action. The dot lower method creates a new string after turning every single character into lowercase. The dot replace method creates a new string, in our case, after replacing all occurrences of comma with an empty space. The dot split method, which uses a Python string to magically create a Python list. Any empty space in the string indicates boundary between elements. Coming back, we first use the lower method to create a lowercase string of Romeo and Juliet. Then we replace all the punctuation mark with empty spaces, and assign this to the variable rjtextNoPmark. Of course, there are other punctuation marks besides commas, so we update the variable textNoPmark based on its existing value, but further replacing out all the period marks. And we repeat the same process for the rest of them. And finally, we use the split method to create a list version of this string. If I print rjlist, what I see is a long Python list. This list contains every single word of Romeo and Juliet, which is what we want. Let's ask some basic questions. What's the first word in there? What's the second word in there? What's the 500th word in there? I can use the len function to check for how many elements this list have. This thing is a number, so I can assign this to a variable and print it. Our list has 25,000 strings in there. Besides the comparison operator, the in keyword is another tool we have to create a Boolean expression by asking if certain data is indeed within the list. We can ask, is the string Romeo in rjlist? How about the string Juliet? False. Oh, it's because I misspelled Juliet. Is Shakespeare's iconic thou in there? Is the word love in there? False. How come? I thought this is a love story. It's because I made a mistake. Remember, everything has been turned into lowercase, so it's impossible for any capitalized string to be found within rjlist. I need to lowercase love as well. Is the string poison in there? Since the in keyword gives us a Boolean value, so we can write an if-else logic. The string robot is not in there. The string Python is also not in there. See, we don't even need to read the entire thing, we can conclude that the story is not about robot nor Python. In many real programming scenarios, the list we work with is oftentimes very long, while we're perhaps only interested in a small subsection. The slicing syntax is a quick way to make a copy of a subsection of a list. Suppose I only want elements from index 2 to index 5. I put square bracket, starting index, colon, end index. Wait, actually, that's not right. The index 5 element, the string f, is not included. The slice only gave me 2, 3, 4. The reason behind this is that Python's end index is always non-inclusive. In our case, we want our last index to be 5, so the correct end index we should use is 6. I know, a little counterintuitive, this is a pretty common source of mistake, would be nice to point out here. Changing the end index to 6. Also, notice our sublist has been re-indexed. The index 0 element is a string C. Coming back, I can just slice out a very small subsection from rjlist and print it out to see what's in there.